All right, Andre, here we go. Uh, I don't know how many other financial planners or accountants or investment people you talk to, but normally as an industry, the first thing we do is talk about how we can increase your percentage of earnings. Okay, we talk about how if you invest in stock or you invest with us, I can get you a greater return than any other financial plan out there. Okay,
Mhm.
and but that's a poor way to do it. Okay, because what we're discovering is that most people are in debt, and until you get rid of debt, you really can't invest and you really can't save. Okay.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. Does it make sense to you if your credit card is charging you 23, 24%, right? And your savings account is paying you 1%? I
Yeah, that don't make no sense at all.
mean, you think you're saving, but subtract the two, you automatically what? 20% in the hole, 19,
Yeah,
20% in the hole.
yeah,
So you think you're getting ahead, you're trying to save over here, and you're only getting like 1%, less than 1% in your savings account. And on the other hand, that same $100 over here is being charged 23%. You see what I'm saying?
right,
So we
right,
go
right.
backwards. So debt is causing us to go backwards instead of and that's
Forwards.
that's that's why it's hard for people to get debt. The Certified Financial Planning Board did a survey last year. Okay.
Mhm.
And they found that 97% of Americans' greatest concern was getting out of debt. 42% of the people had concerns about their debt situation.
Yeah,
And 21% of the people said they were trying to save for a house, a car, a major purchase, right?
right.
So when you look at this, 63% of the people are saving, are either in debt and want to get out, or trying
Mm,
to save for future purchase, okay?
okay.
So what we did was create a program called Debt to Capital. And in this program, what we are doing is teaching people how how to take their debt payments to create wealth. Make sense?
Okay. Interesting.
How to
That,
make you feel like every dollar you pay on your credit card is adding money to your cash account.
I mean, that would make me feel, certainly make me feel good and
Uh,
confident. So
well,
yeah.
You've heard of Dave Ramsey, right?
Right.
Uh,
Absolutely.
Dave Ramsey, uh, for the last 30 years, he's been teaching people how to do what he's called the snowball debt elimination. And he claims that it's the fastest way to get out of debt. And to be honest with you, it is. There's no other
Uh-huh.
way that's faster than his snowball debt elimination program. What we did was couple that with a cash value investment insurance policy.
Huh.
Okay. So I'm gonna get into the difference here in a minute. But what I discovered in my practice, and I've been practicing since before you've been alive, I've been practicing since nine. I've been in practice as CPA since 1978. Okay,
Wow.
I'll,
Man,
I'll,
that's
I'll
good.
be 77 this year.
You
So
don't look it, man.
in May I'll be 77 years old. Okay,
Wow.
so God is good. I can say I'm a young 77. So God has been good.
You really are.
Yeah. So what I found in my practice, Aldo, there's two types of clients I have. I got
Uh-huh.
clients that got money. I have clients that want money. And what I discovered that was that every client I have that have money, their major concern is they want to avoid losing the money. And when I
Right.
first started out in practice, I thought they were talking about taxes, right?
Uh-huh.
But that's not what they're talking about. I discovered that 40% of the people are overpaying their taxes. And it's coming off the top before you even see it. That's income taxes, real estate taxes, sales taxes, exercise taxes. I mean, there's all kind of taxes out here, right? So 40% of your income is going to taxes. The other 25% of your income goes to debt. Okay,
That's
that's
real.
65%. So that's only leaving us with what? 35% toward our lifestyle and our savings. Okay.
Right.
And what's happening here is that when these people talk about avoid losing money, look at this as being your circle of wealth. Every dollar that comes in your hand or your pocket goes out through this circle of wealth here. We call it a circle of wealth. Okay. And what we
Okay.
want to do is stop money from leaving our circle unnecessarily. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Because you control this circle. You have control of this whole circle here. And how the money leaves your circle is up to you.
Right.
So the goal here is what? Let's decrease the taxes, decrease debt, and now increase more money that we can now put in the pie
The
to
savings. Yeah.
savings and our lifestyle. Okay. So let me give you an analogy. Money lost to interest on debt is money lost forever. You'll never get it back. Let me give you an example. You and I buy a house, identical
Uh-huh.
home. Both homes are $200,000. Okay. I pay
Right.
cash for my house. So my house truly cost me 200,000. You finance your house. So the finance costs and everything, you end up spending $400,000 for your house over 30 years. Okay.
Yeah.
We both decided to sell our homes. The difference is my house only cost me what? 200.
200,000.
Both houses have the same market value 30 years from now. The difference is your house cost you $400,000. So the extra
Right.
200,000 you spend in interest that went to the bank is
Yeah.
gone. You never get it back. We put a program together that brings that money back into your pocket. How that sound to you?
Yeah,
Remember
that's
when
good.
we captured the house? So you know when you get your mortgage, for example, using mortgage for example, and they tell you you
Uh-huh.
get what 4%, 5%, 6% loan, and we
Right.
happy about that. I got a great rate, right?
Right.
That's not the rate that's killing you. What's killing you is what the bank does not want you to know about, and the finance companies and the industry never talks about, and it's called the effective interest cost. The effective interest cost, Andre, is the interest you paid this month divided by your total payments for this month. That is your true cost of interest, not the 6%. I want you to look at this mortgage statement. This is a mortgage of one of my clients, okay?
Okay.
I want you to look at this now. You see right here, the principal was what, 357, right?
Right.
Interest was 1441. So he ended up
Uh-huh.
paying over here on the left. His total cost, mortgage and interest is $1,800 a month. Okay. Out of that $1,800 a month, 1,400 went to interest. When you divide it, we discovered that his true interest cost is 80%. The bank is making 80% on every dollar he pays into them. That's why the banks got marble floors and the nice desks and everything else when you walk in there, and the fountain outside, the water and all that. That's why they got the that's why the banks got the money.
Listen, that's the whole highway robbery right there.
Now, do you know anybody making an 80% return on their investments?
No, the bank.
Guaranteed with no risk, Holly. And look
Yeah.
at this. That's 80%. But look at this true. See, his interest rate is 6%. He had a regular mortgage, 6%.
Yeah. That's not. Because I'm trying to understand how the bank even.
That's
How
what
does
the
the.
system works. Over 30 years, you pay double what the house cost you. You brought the house 200 or end up costing you 600. Okay. So
Mm.
here's how the snowball effect works. Okay. The
Yeah.
snowball effect works. We take our lowest bill, the lowest bill, you pay that off first, And what money you was paying on this bill, right? We
Right.
don't have it anymore. We're gonna now apply that monthly amount to the next lowest bill, right?
Right.
After that's paid off, then we're gonna take the two amounts we had here and apply it to our last bill. That's called a snowball effect. Okay.
Okay.
So, for example, let's say in this client we found an additional $500 in their budget that we were able to pull out their budget. Okay, and that could be from money that's unnecessarily leaving their circle of wealth. Okay,
Yeah.
so we took the 500, we added to his $71 a month credit card payment. He only owed 18.50 on the credit card, right?
Right.
Now we paying 571 to the credit card. Bam, that's paid off in about 3 months. Okay.
Okay.
So now we take the 571 on the snowball effect. We had the 500, the 71, add to the 643 student loan bill. That adds up to a total of 1214. And we're paying that now to the student loan bill. So that's gone. And then we do the same thing with the car payment. So now we're paying 1627 to the car instead of 413 when you add up all the bills. And that the
Right.
car is paid off real quick. And now they're debt free. And that's what everybody wants to be at, is debt free, right?
Right.
Now, Albert Einstein, who people consider one of the greatest minds in the world, he said the snowball is good, but compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. And that's us. Because we don't understand it, we end up paying it.
Right.
So the snowball is great, but the problem is when it's all said and done, you ain't got no savings. So you're debt free now, but now you gotta go buy a new car. What do? You go back in debt again. So
Yeah,
you're
you find
a
it.
hamster
Yeah.
wheel. It's continuous spinning all the time. You can never
Right.
get out of debt, even when you pay it off. You got to go
Right.
back into the system to go back into debt. So here's
Right.
how the program works, okay? I'll tell you, we use a cash value insurance policy. So this $500 here, the excess 500,
Uh-huh.
we're not gonna pay it to the credit card. We're going to deposit into your insurance policy. The insurance policy is paying like 3-4% a month. I mean, 3-4% a year, right?
Right.
And we're going to just continue to build up. And when this gets large enough, we're going to pull the money out of here as a loan and pay off this credit card.
So you're borrowing against the value of the cash, which is the asset.
Right. And because we're borrowing against the asset, we're still earning on that money like it never left there.
So how is that different than a whole life insurance policy? Because that's almost what it sounds like to me.
It is a whole life policy. But the
Okay.
difference is this one is set up to pay off debt.
You said self-propelled fit.
It's set up to pay off your debts.
Oh, so okay, okay.
It's
Sorry.
different than regular. Most time when people say a whole life policy, the main purpose is a death benefit.
Right.
All the money is going toward the death benefit. When we
Right.
structure these accounts, this whole life policy is structured not for debt, but we're trying to maximize cash value. We were trying to get the lowest death benefit I can get and maximize savings and cash accumulation. So
Right.
look, when this gets high enough, you're gonna get a text. The text gonna say, Andre, you now have enough money built into your account to pay off your credit card. And within 48 hours, you're gonna get the money to pay off that credit card bill. Okay. When that's said and done, we now got 571, right?
Right.
We're gonna pay that over here into our pot again. Okay. When the bill's up again, you're gonna get a text message. And they track this at monthly. The system tracks it monthly. So when you get enough in here, because they know you're paying down the bill over here, right? You're still making payments over here on the bill.
Right.
The extra money is going in here. When it gets high enough to pay off that bill, you're gonna get a text that say, Andre, you can pay off your student loan. Andre, and it's duplicated, and you're gonna find your cash value is growing all the time. Every time you make a payment,
Yeah.
then it's gonna pay off the car, right?
Right.
So
So this is so like we're it sounds like we're intentionally depleting the whole life policy just to build it back up.
you're not depleting the life policy, you're borrowing against it. So therefore, let me give you an example. I'm gonna use
I get it. I get it
let,
now.
we're using the cash value as collateral on the loan.
Yeah. I see exactly
So
what you're saying.
so for example, if we had $100,000, right,
Right.
cash value, and let's say the insurance company is paying you 7% on that cash value. So the insurance company is paying you $100,000 on your loan, on your cash value, right? You say, hey, I need to borrow $50,000. I need to borrow 50,000 to buy a car. So they're gonna take 50,000. They don't take it from your account. They say, oh, he got 100,000 sitting here. We'll just use that as collateral against the car. So you get title to your car, right?
Right.
But they're gonna withhold $50,000 because the insurance company knows that someday you're gonna die. They're never gonna loan you more than your death benefit. So,
Right.
and then they know how much cash you got. So they're paying you 7% on the cash value, right? They're
Right.
charging you 5% on the loan. Okay. So at
Okay.
the end of the year, on $100,000 is sitting there, like it never left there. You should get paid the whole 100. So now you made $7,000 interest income, right?
Right.
On the 50,000, they charge you 5%. So on the 50,000 at 5%, that's what, $2,500, right?
Uh,
That's interest expense. You subtract the two, right? You're ahead by what? $3,500.
hmm.
So you actually made money by buying the car. The car didn't cost you a dime. You made $3,500 on that purchase.
Okay. So you answered my other question because I had another
Okay.
question asked about how is this different than the HELOC?
Yeah, this
Um.
and all that. So let me finish, okay?
Yes, sir.
So after the completion, you can be debt free, right?
Right.
Your cash account, you don't pay the money back into the system. So now all the loans paid off, and you got cash value. So look at this. If you keep going, let's use an example of this client here. If he keeps going the way he's going, he is $52,000 in debt, right? He's paying $1,100 a month. It's going to take him 7 years to pay off that debt.
Right.
And when he finished, he got no money. Here's a snowball, Dave Ramsey's program. 52, he had extra 500,000 in his budget, so he came up 1,627. So look, the snowball knocks out his total debt in 3 years compared to 7 years. So he's totaled out debt in 3 years. Sounds good?
That sounds good,
The
but it's a
problem is
better
that
option.
both of you end up the same place.
Yeah, as I say, it sounds like it's a better option.
There's a better option, but you still end up in the same place. No savings, no savings. The
Right.
$500 went into paying the debt down. So you still don't have no savings, right? Here's a debt to capital our program. The $52,000. You still 500, making the same payment as the snowball effect. It's going to take you a little bit longer, 3.75, almost 4 years to get out of debt compared to 7.
Right.
Look at our cash balance when it's said and done, when we pay off everything. So you paid off, this guy here is debt free too, but he's $18,000. He got $18,000 in his cash account. So he don't have to go back in the system. He needs to, if he has an emergency or something come up, he got 18,000 in cash sitting there.
Right.
Which would you rather have?
18,000 cash.
All right. Now, this is a young lady here. She's an actual client of mine. Okay, Sherry.
Uh-huh.
Sherry, if you add up all her bills, they came to $327,000. Okay, she's paying $3,600 a month in payments. Okay, and I want you to
Uh-huh.
look at. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but just look at her mortgage here. You see the mortgage?
Yeah.
Mortgage 297. Look at her rate. She's paying a 3.2%.
Yeah, great credit.
Yep, she got great credit and great rate, right?
Yeah,
Her monthly payment on this principal and interest is 1840. That's what they quoted her on the 3.2%, right? She's very
right,
happy with this. But when you break it down, out of this 1840, $792, almost $800 is going to interest each month. This means the bank is making 43% on every dollar she pays in. The bank is making a profit off her of 43%. Great return for the bank, right?
right. And the same for the credit card.
So,
And it's both for both of the credit cards actually.
so we look at everything here, and out of all her monthly payments and everything, she's paying about a 25% a month to the finance companies and the credit card. And that's why she's broke. She's not broke, but that's why she can't build her wealth up because the banks are making 25% on every dollar she's paying in.
Right.
Okay. So that's a real problem. This is a real problem. So look at this
Yeah.
now. If she keeps going the way she's going, right,
Well,
it's going to take her 18 years to get out of debt right here. That's including the mortgage. That's everything she got here, including the mortgage. She'll be out of debt in 18 years. Okay. Look at our program. She'll be out of debt in 6 years. How does that sound?
that's great. Almost too good to be true.
Yeah, but it's real. Happening every day. She'll be out of debt in 6 years and it's tracked monthly.
Uh,
And get this. You think that's crazy? Look at this. She paid off $327,000 of debt in 6 years. And look how much her cash account will have at the end of the 6 years.
yeah. That's
So not only is she debt free in 1/3 of the time, right?
right.
6 years compared to 18 years, she's actually gonna be debt free with $227,000 available to her to buy a house, buy a car, loan, pay her kids to go to college. What she want to use the money for? It's her money.
Hmm.
And at that point, I normally ask my clients, would you like to see your own personal strategy worked up? It won't cost you
Yeah,
nothing. We do that for free.
yeah.
And
But that's good. No, that's really good. I guess yeah, that's really good. So what would be, and I guess what are the in terms of making payments into the life insurance policy, you know,
the
how does
whole policy, Andre, is based on the found money.
the found money?
The found money.
The found money. Okay.
I call it the found money.
Okay. So
That's
you have to go through
money.
the whole
Remember I
budget.
talked earlier about the circle of wealth?
Right.
All money flows into your circle. And remember I tell
Right.
you how it leaves your circle is up to you, right?
Right.
So when we go into your budget and we start looking at your budget and breaking it down, I may find that you're a smoker. You may be
Uh-huh.
spending $50 a month on smoking. I said, well, Andre, can you give up smoking? He said, yeah. I may find that you and your family eat out every day. Maybe I'll be spending $300 a month eating out all the time. I said, can we cut some of that down? He said, we'll cut
Yeah.
it in half. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Then we look at the tax strategies. Maybe you're overpaying your income taxes. Maybe we come up with some strategies there, cut the income tax. That's additional money. So within your budget, we come up
Yeah.
with a monthly nut. So we look at the debt, then we look at the found money that we know we can get. Some people paying extra money on their mortgages every month, trying to pay it down. Some people
Uh-huh.
paying extra money on their credit card debt, trying to pay it off.
Right.
Some people putting money into a 401k retirement. Okay,
Right.
makes no sense putting money away for a 401k, and it's 401k is paying you 6% a year, and you in debt paying out 40% a year. We got to
Uh,
get rid of that debt first, because you can't get ahead to do nothing until you get rid of the debt. The debt is killing you. That snowball is killing that debt is what kills people. So the
Right.
first strat is get you out of debt. So when I get you out of debt, use her for example. When I'm able to get you out of debt, let's say you at your age right now. Imagine this is you, okay?
Okay.
Instead of you being in debt for 18 more years, which means this is around to 20, so that means you out of debt at 53, right?
Right.
Imagine being totally out of debt, including your mortgage, at 39
Mm.
and have $227,000 in your bank account from money that we found that you didn't know was leaving your circle unnecessarily, leaking out of your circle every month unnecessarily, overpaying your mortgage. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel you saying.
Saving wrong. You're saving for a retirement. You're saving for you put money away in your emergency savings accounts and all this. But debt is killing you. The bank is making 40% off you. So what we do is get rid of that. So if you look at this, he got 6 years, so he got what 12 years. So you'll have 12 more years of no debt that you can put all this money, the whole $3,500, and imagine all that going into your cash account. So it's not only the 227 here that you're looking at, right?
Right.
Imagine you're gonna have another whole 12 years. Now we know realistically you can buy another car, you can buy other
Right.
things, right? That's be
Right.
real, okay? But realistic, imagine here you've been what, debt free in 18 years, still broke.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing right now, you still be broke, right? Over
Right.
here, you knocked out all of this in 6 years. You got 227,000 in the bank, and now you got an extra 12 years that you normally be sending money to these people. That $3,500 a month, you can send that into your own cash account. That's $48,000 a year going to your savings.
Right.
Over 10 years, that's $400,000 extra, and that's not even counting interest on the 400. That is principal. So now, just adding the principal to this 400,000, we're looking at 627 in 12 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost $1 million when you add interest to it. This guy, she could be much better off in our program. And if she needs to buy a car, she's the bank now. She becomes her own bank, her own finance company. She come in here, borrow the money from herself, right? The same way,
Right.
pay
Yeah.
it back to herself, and the account is still growing. Like it never left the account. That's the beauty of this program. Debt to capital. Change your whole life.